Hello, my name is Robert Martellacci of the MindShare Learning Report, Canada's Learning and Technology e-magazine, and welcome to another exciting MindShareTV podcast. I'm honored to have the privilege of speaking with Jason Trinh, a true leader and innovator in STEM education. Jason is a program coordinator for Global Competencies and STEM ICT educator at the Toronto District School Board, my alma mater. I don't know if I mentioned that to you, Jason, but he's also a consultant and passionate about advocating for digital making and innovation in education. Recently, Jason was recognized as the K-12 Educator of the Year at the Canadian EdTech Awards at the University of Toronto, the 15th anniversary of the Canadian EdTech Summit, for his outstanding contributions to STEM learning. Jason, welcome and congratulations again.
Thanks so much. Such an honor, and it's such an honor to be here and have this chat with you.
Well, thank you. And just a little more about Jason. He is an award-winning educator. Besides the Canadian EdTech Awards, he's the recipient of the Premier's Award for Teaching Excellence and the ICT Digital Equity Award, and was named to the ICT Top 20 to Watch list. So Jason specializes in digital media creation to support educators in transforming teaching and learning practice, and is an active participant in professional learning, very involved with the ICT organization as a global Google innovator, Google trainer, Apple distinguished educator. You wear many hats, and what an impact you're making. Talk to me about your inspiration for STEM. One of the challenges today that I've heard from the likes of Dr. Bonnie Smith is that STEM, is kind of flatlined in terms of students in high school going into STEM. And one of the things they talked about was perhaps we need to have role models and do a PR campaign around, people, the likes of Chris Hadfield that I met recently, and have inspirational leaders like yourself talk about the journey to be getting involved in STEM.
Yeah, STEM, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, STEM is now, I think, so integrated in being for our students to be ready for the future. I think the world that students are living in and graduating into, like, STEM is just like, it's part of the digital age, it's part of understanding, and being engaged citizens. And so for me, like, I naturally gravitated towards the math and sciences when I was a student, and I just loved being able to learn about both, and I pursued that. I was able to go to University of Waterloo, and part of the learning there is they have a strong co-op program, and I think really that was where the passion really ignited. When we get students to actually be immersed in STEM experiences, get their hands dirty, get their feet wet, whatever STEM they're learning, I think that really is where it comes alive for me. Going to co-op placements and learning in industry, learning at research facilities in universities, really excited and inspired me to continue. And just to your point about seeing yourself in STEM is such a key piece. Being able to have these placements, I got to work alongside scientists, research associates from different walks of life. Whoa. And you really get to see yourself in STEM. And I think that's where the challenge is, to what you mentioned, is, that sometimes students don't see themselves in STEM. And I think drawing awareness to know that STEM is for everybody, and there's also more nowadays, there's so many more opportunities when it comes to STEM. It's not, the typical engineer or the mathematician or the astronaut. STEM careers are almost in every sector. It overlaps. STEM overlaps within business. It overlaps within, other fields. And it really is, there is, I think, a space for all of our students to see them in STEM, but the true challenge is trying to illuminate that for our students.
Oh, well said. I mentioned off air that, my twin boys are in the financial sector, CPAs and M&A. One of their classmates from high school is an engineer, but that's the space he's involved in now, because you need that expertise, you need that knowledge, that STEM knowledge, to make decisions on mergers and acquisitions as well. So there's a multitude of pathways, and fascinating times. And we had last year, our keynote speaker was the the founder and CEO of the Canadian Space Mining Corporation. That's a thing, right?
Yeah, like it's two sectors that used to be so distinct, but yet now they're at the point where we are. Things are just like there's intersections between all these different sort of sectors now, because that's where the world is headed, right? Where learning from one area is really impacting others.
Well, we support FRC 1325 here at the workspace. One of the Peel schools closed and they needed a new home, and we offered up our space. So I was invited to their celebration at the end of the year, and they were at MHI, was it? Mitsubishi, that builds the Challenger jet. And we got to tour the facility. My comment to the general manager was, if I saw this as a kid, I would have gone into a totally different sector, and focus of study. It was so inspiring to see a block of aluminum emerge as a fuselage and wings, further down the line.
And that's such a key part about STEM education, is that it can't just be contained to the four walls of the classroom. I think, yeah, like as I mentioned, my experience within co-op programs, like experiencing it, seeing it with your own eyes is really key. And I know schools are sometimes limited by those experiences, but I think that's where, inviting virtual guest speakers into the space or bringing in different artifacts into the space can really change it. It's going beyond just the textbook these days.
And then, of course, we have the CanCode project that hopefully will be renewed again. I believe it will be. It's a bit delayed, but that must have made quite an impact on your district and beyond.
Yeah, so it really is a key thing, is that like part of the work I get to do in my district, it really is to provide the supports where we can, create these rich learning opportunities that involve STEM. So one of the projects that we launched is that we have a variety of partners that we work within the TDSB, and we sort of created this program called Future Ready Learning. And we sort of put that as a key piece to focus in on developing transferable skills in these rich contexts. So we have programs, where like one of our partners is taking a global, and they have a great program called Your Voice is Power, which uses coding to code, music remixes, taking samples from Indigenous artists. Even for one of the folks who is on our Elders Council, Elder Dr. Drew Redbird, his poetry is in this platform. And one part of these programs that we're trying to share is to give educators professional learning opportunities. And then they're ready to actually launch these really great, rich STEM initiatives in their classrooms, so that students, as I mentioned, get these other rich experiences that combine the development of all of these rich skills.
Amazing. And congratulations again on being named K-12 Teacher of the Year as part of the Canadian EdTech Awards. You were amongst a great selection of folks that are behind me. Kathy Hurley was the Can-Am, got the Can-Am Lifetime Achievement Award, 50 years plus in EdTech, who was my VP back in the day with the Learning Company. You may recall Mr. Wonderful launched that. I launched that for him in Canada. And it's about leadership. It's about taking risks. It's about the growth mindset. What does this recognition mean to you? And how has it influenced your work in some of the other recognition that you've gotten?
Yeah, it's again, such an honor to receive an award. The work that we do in public education, sometimes you feel like you're just always trying to do the best for our learners in our community. So it's really a great honor to be recognized. And I think for me, it just, it adds motivation to the work that I'm doing, to continue the working in like the largest school district within Canada. We serve such a diverse, large community. So it really, for me, it's like a personal moment where it fills my cup. Often, it gives me motivation to continue the work that I'm doing, and I hopefully feel that it maybe gives a little bit more weight to some of the initiatives I'm trying to launch, and it brings people alongside me. So I think it's a great opportunity, not like receiving an award, gain the recognition as an individual, amazing. But at the same time, I feel it is a catalyst to really move towards something and try to bring other people along. And I think that's what it means to me, is that it gives me it's a catalyst to really continue the work and keep going and hopefully bring others alongside me.
Well said. It is a team effort, isn't it? And you have a lot of supports in that massive district of yours that I'm such a proud graduate of, George Harvey Collegiate, that got merged into York Memorial, where my wife went, and
Okay.
I never realized we'd be graduates from the same high school.
You can, your alma mater is the same, and if there's a reunion, it'll be in the same space.
That's right. Well, as program coordinator for Global Competencies, what do you see as the most critical skills students need today to succeed in today's rapidly evolving world, particularly in the age of AI? And we talked about that at our summit that you were at recently. It's never been a more exciting time to be in education, but it can be daunting for students and educators if they don't get the professional learning and those and the upskilling that kids really need today.
Part of the work that I do as the program coordinator for Global Competencies, and Global Competencies, just to unpack that for folks, like that started with Michael Fullen's work with the 6 C's. The work has evolved, and the ministry really has focused in on those as well. They're deeming them as transferable skills. So the Ministry of Ontario, Education of Ontario, has outlined 7 sort of transferable skills. And I think, to answer this question, I think the key one, even though I know collaboration, communication, creativity are all important, I think right now, I think digital literacy is the key one. We're at the point where, digital landscapes are changing exponentially, like with the emergence of AI and how AI can generate content or pull things together and synthesize things together. The skill of digital literacy is really more and more important for all Canadians, all citizens of any nation, and especially for K-12 education. So what digital literacy means to me really is those skills of being able to understand how to select and use different digital tools, how to analyze the results you get in terms of like misinformation from disinformation, having the confidence and set of skills to explore and apply and know when to apply, some of these digital skills, but also in a wellness piece is that like with, in this current digital age, we can be inundated with technology. And I think there is a bit of mental health and wellness piece when it connected to digital literacy as well. So of all the skills, I think that's one of the things that I'm beginning to focus in on and continue to focus in on, because it's really, really, really key to think about, digital literacy, because it is a skill for all people.
Yeah, I thought I'd pull up the 7 C's from C21 Canada, and as you referenced there, there's a multitude of these skills that we see here, and we've got 7. Fullen's got 6. They're critical. They're critical skills. They're I hear it references soft skills sometimes. I don't like that term, soft skills. These are essential skills to thrive.
100%. And I think for me, like you're calling them 6 C's, 7 C's, 21st century learning skills, transferable skills, soft skills. I'm just glad that we're all having the same conversation. The labels are not as important as thinking about how to actually develop,
well said,
students into active, engaged citizens.
Absolutely. You're known for innovative teaching in practice. Can you share a specific project or initiative that you've led that has made a significant impact in the district that you're proud of?
One project that's ongoing is focusing on digital making. I'm a former teacher librarian, so I only got 1 year to be a teacher librarian before I moved into this role. And, I saw the amazing work that was happening in elementary schools, in library spaces, when it came to maker spaces. You see students creating these great creations and different things. And in my brain, I was always wondering, what does that look like in the secondary school library space? It's not a Lego wall as much as important thing that we see in secondary. And the other thing that I saw happening in secondary school spaces was that, there was all this great way to create like digital products, like podcasts, videos, infographics. But what I found is that like teachers were pulled in so many different directions, and teachers would say like, hey, students, for this project, you could do a podcast, you could make a video. But the teachers, these classroom teachers, were challenged by the time to learn those tools themselves, to be able to introduce that to the students and actually take the time to do it. And I thought that was a perfect opportunity where we could change the game in secondary school libraries. So the project that I'm really that's ongoing, that I'm really proud of, is that we have about 14 pilot schools within the TDSB that where we've created these digital creativity kits in these school libraries, where when a teacher says you can try to do this and this, we are partnering with the teacher librarian to make them the expert and the facilitator. That schools have the gear that includes like tripods, iPads, styluses, microphones, to be able to create whatever possible. So we've created these digital making spaces in these schools.
Brilliant.
And this is the third year of this project, and we've seen some great pieces happening where students who are able to leverage the tech and create advertising campaigns for the business class. We have students creating little small documentaries in the day of the life of themselves to be able to share about who they are. We've seen a lot of variety of different things where it's breathing some new life into some secondary school libraries.
Fantastic. Congratulations on that. So talk to me about EdTech integration. What are some of the biggest challenges and opportunities when it comes to integrating technology into STEM education?
So I think a part of it is understanding why you're using technology. Often, technology can be used in a variety of learning contexts, but I feel like what's a big challenge now when I'm working with teachers is really to help them determine the why. And it goes on both ways, because some teachers are resistant to using technology. But I point out that, for some students, there's IEPs or individual education plans that talk about computer accommodations as one of their accommodations for their learning. So in those situations, you can't shy away from technology, because technology is there to serve a purpose. It may be leveraging like voice to text options. You may be leveraging a touch screen because that is the best way for that student to show the efficiency and clarity of their work. So for some educators, understanding that why of like connecting it to student learning accommodations is important. On the other side of the spectrum, there's amazing edtech tools out there, and you sometimes get caught up in what's happening, but you can't just jump head first into every single piece without understanding the why. If the tech there isn't connected to learning, isn't going to connect to providing students more ways to demonstrate their thinking, and it's more so just like a glitz and glamour thing, sometimes like that why is a little shaky. And I think that's the trouble. The challenge sometimes is that the technology needs to have a purpose, because when it has a purpose, it really brings alive the curriculum. And that's the key piece happening in K-12 education, is that the tools we have provided to us and sharing with students should be connected to our goals as educators, which is to make the learning come alive and have kids demonstrate that they're thinking and understanding.
How do you grapple with digital equity? I know during COVID, 70,000 Chromebooks were shipped from TDSB to students to enable one-to-one computing. Dr. Steve Jordan's talked about the great snapback, the threat of that, my co-chair from our Canadian EdTech Summit. Where are you at when it comes to digital equity in a large district like yours?
Yeah, so it's really exciting in terms of like just one of the first digital divides is digital access divide. So the TDSB has a one-to-one student Chromebook program, and now it's grade 5s to grade 12s have the opportunity. All the students have the opportunity to have a student device Chromebook, which is really exciting. Yeah, so this is like the 4th year of this initiative, and then the kudos like to Peter Singh and to the leaders within the TDSB for championing this, because that's a key piece. Like we saw during the pandemic, where students might have access to devices at home, but they're shared devices, right? So family members are using them, other siblings are using them. What this really does in providing that Chromebook to our students in grade 5 to grade 12 is that they have a device that they can focus in on their learning, which is really, really powerful. And this is having ripple effects as well within the classroom. Part of the work that we're doing this year is really focusing in on the one-to-one device program and sharing with teachers that, there's so many more possibilities when it comes to having every kid have a device. And it's not just like, it's great for research periods and to be able to do that online research, but there's a lot of great things are happening where teachers are changing their instruction. They're able to do, get data about learning in a timely way because digital tools and Chromebooks allow us to do so. So teachers their teaching practice is evolving. It's more timely, it's more effective, which is really a key piece, is that, that digital equity piece of having, devices in our students' hands has been a bit of a game changer.
Fascinating. Kudos to you for that. And talk to me about leadership, the importance of leadership, and going beyond your district to share your story. And you are very immersed in recipient of an award from ISTE. We're a media partner at ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education. ASDD is a partner company to them, organization. Talk to me about the importance of going beyond your network, your immediate network, to learn and grow.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you start to put yourself out there and you start to want to share the work that you're doing, just by the nature of putting together a proposal, putting together a presentation, it really helps you solidify the vision that you have. And I think I recommend, for folks who are nervous about sharing their work, it does take a bit of vulnerability to put yourself out there. But by the sheer nature of putting that proposal in, and it really helps you really determine your vision for your work, and whether or not you get accepted or not, that's a really important practice. But I think the key part of leadership is being able to share your practice, but also with the stance of being a learner still. I think leadership, to be a true leader, you also need to be a learner and be open to receiving information from others. What I have benefited from by presenting, going to ISTE and presenting at conferences, is that it opens up the dialogue, where people attend sessions, people reach out to you, and it becomes a great dialogue because you can learn so much from others. Other districts lead initiatives, big or small, lead initiatives in different ways, and there's learning to be had with everything. So I think that's a really, really key piece.
I thought I'd share your blog article that you wrote, and it's a good segue to advice that you might offer educators in looking ahead in terms of the evolution of STEM in the next 5-10 years. And with the advent of AI, what could we anticipate, and how do we engage with this in the future?
The AI has really supercharged the acceleration of everything. And I think in this article that I shared, and thank you for sharing it out here, is that really it's thinking about STEM in a different way. I was a STEM educator. I took on to that identity because I taught maths and sciences. But in this article, I really hopefully share an interesting point of view that really STEM is, again, applicable to all fields. And it's about redefining what we think STEM actually represents. So in this article, I talk about, sustainability is a key part of STEM, and often that's overlooked. And really, when it's STEM is all really focused in on finding, solutions and to problems and challenges out there. But I think we need to understand that sometimes the solution can't lead to more severe problems down the road. That's really short-sighted. There's a bit of sustainability that's important. In redefining STEM, I talk about those transferable skills, which we just mentioned, whether it's the 7 C's, the 6 C's, whatever you're calling them. That is a true power of STEM, is developing the skills. The E in the redefinition of STEM looking at empathy. I think, especially with AI is not going to replace the human aspect of who we are.
Right.
Human creativity, human ingenuity, human empathy are key pieces to be able to solve true problems in the world. And finally,
to add to that, human connection.
Definitely, right? That's why I feel like the educator is never going to be replaced.
Never.
For us, if you think about your past schooling, what comes to mind are, some of those teachers that made a change in your life. You don't remember that geography lesson, that one test you wrote. You remember that person that really shaped who you are. So I think 100%. The human aspect of teaching will never go away.
Well said.
Yeah, definitely. And the last piece of this is motivation. STEM, it's really analyzing, what are your motivations when it comes to pursuing a STEM career. So yeah, highly recommend, just because I wrote it, that you read this article. But I really, hopefully, puts a a piece about rethinking about what STEM actually means. Like, it is about understanding the world that we have it as it is. But really, I really think I'll just leave it on this quote here.
Right.
Is that really empowering students to develop their own solutions to a problem in their community makes an important difference in how students understand their role in that community. So I think that's what STEM does. It's a way to really bring things together, to really create, as I mentioned before, those active, engaged citizens, and which is, I think, the goal of any education. I think, right, to produce citizens that exhibit communication, collaboration, critical thinking, but really citizenship as well.
Right. And that care about our universe and want to make an impact and to become problem solvers, right?
Exactly. Right. These are all sort of things that I think we all wish now, because I think, the idea of mastery of content isn't as important, because we have, AI, we have chatbots, we have like, things have changed a lot, where the idea of content is not as important, but it's really about the piece that we've talked about here, right? About being able to solve problems and communicate those effectively.
Jason, thank you so much for sharing your incredible insights and inspiring work with us today. Your dedication to advancing STEM education is empowering students is truly remarkable. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
No, again, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's always one of those great opportunities to share the work that's happening. But yeah, I think the last word I would say is that I think when it comes to STEM, is that we all have a place in STEM, and the world of what STEM actually means has evolved. So, for students to see themselves in STEM, we need to rethink a little bit what those careers are, and that those careers actually are more intertwined than we think they are.
Thank you again, Jason Trinh, Program Coordinator, TDSB, Canadian EdTech Teacher of the Year. My name is Robert Martellacci, the Mindshare Learning Report. Be sure to check out www.MindShareLearning to get your latest issue. And until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.